WWE. As you can see, I'm by my lonesome tonight here on a Friday night. As we just wrapped up another episode of Smackdown. Pretty good show on all in all. If you're new to us over on YouTube, give us a subscription, hit that notification bell so you can always catch our videos. I may be solo tonight. Looks like I am right now. Possibly my tag team partner Trey jumps in here in a little bit. But yeah, pretty good episode of Smackdown tonight. We're going to get into the reaction and results here in just a minute. Randy Orton appearing again tonight. No CM Punk tonight. I was myself a little disappointed, hoping to see him again. And it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing him again on Raw either this coming Monday, because right now they're advertising him to be on next week's Smackdown episode, which is also tribute to the troops. I am a veteran myself, so see how that goes. I don't like how they've done it in years past here lately. I miss when they used to go and show up to the you just go to the actual bases and whatnot and do the show. So something pretty cool there. We'll be seeing next week as we get Friday Night Smackdown. So anybody in here, give me a like, say hello in the chat. Give everybody a couple more minutes to pop in if they're going to. Again, follow us on Twitter at Locked On WWE, X, whatever you want to call it. We're also over on Facebook at Locked On WWE. You can also find us on Twitch under the handle Locked On WWE. Subscribe today, subscribe now. Appreciate each and every one of you. Trying to build a community of people here and looking forward to it. And before we get started, my tag team partner's texting me. My phone's over there on charge, so let me check it out. See if he's coming in or not. And it does appear I will be riding solo. I'm riding solo. I'm riding solo. Not solo, Sikoa. Oh my goodness, what's going on over there? Go Braves. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get right into the December 1st, 2023 year of our Lord edition of SmackDown. The night started off a little slow, in my opinion. I didn't care for how the show started off. We start off with Bianca Belair coming out. She's going to come out there. What I know she's a great worker, and we'll see that later on the show. She does in the match with Kairi Sane, which I think, now that I think about it, I forgot to give a grade to, so I'll give it right here live on the live stream. But yeah, she comes out, gloating a little bit about the women's War Games victory that they had last Saturday at the Survivor Series. And as she's going through her deal and gloating about the win, and sets her eyes on Io Sky, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion right now. The music hits, and here comes Damage Control without the original Takeda, Bayley. I'll call her that, the original Takeda. Bayley comes out, or Bayley is not with Damage Control, I'm sorry. They come out. I don't know the manager's name. If you know the manager's name, drop it in the chat. I'm still kind of getting fresh with some of these people and their names. So I knew Io Sky, I knew Kairi Sane, obviously Asuka. And then there was this other chick. I feel like I wrote her name down. I don't see it here, but she basically lets Bianca know that, hey, you want a title shot, you got to go through the entire Damage Control team, which Bianca says, sure, no, why not? I can do that. And as that's going on, Charlotte Flair's music hits, who obviously tagged with Bianca at Survivor Series. Charlotte had Shotzi with her. They hit the ring, ends up in, as I said, would go on to write, ends up in a schmoz, and nothing really accomplished. We didn't find out anything other than that. Nothing was accepted necessarily. Nothing fresh in writing. But some of these people go to the GM. Seems like the women never go to the GM. You hear the guys saying, "I'm going to ask Aldis, or I'm going to ask Adam Pearce on Raw for this match. I'm going to ask him, and I'm going to beg him for this match." The women never seem to be asking the GM for the match. So if there's some kind of clause where the women don't have to ask, they just put together their own shit. And okay. Unpopular opinion. I'm not big on women's wrestling. I'm not a hater of it either, but something about it just bogs down the show at times to me. I felt like the show started slow. Now when we get ratings on that, that's going to be a big indicator, but I just felt like it was a really slow, green, even start. Like, I don't know. I just cannot get behind it. I don't understand why the women don't have their own show. Like, why not have your own show? Just build a full brand of women, and not to segregate everything necessarily, but why not have a brand where it's just the women? You know, the NBA, it's not like there's women out there playing with the guys. And then we got women officials in the first match that we would see of the night, which was Lashley versus Butch. We got a woman official. You know, to hell with realism. I'm supposed to believe that this female, Bobby Lashley, goes completely lunatic, that she's the one that's got to save Butch from being completely plastered. Just come on, man. I know it's, I've said it here on the stream. I know it's anything you can do, I can do better. No. It just makes it look phony. Just makes it look so phony. And I get it. It is phony. We all know. I understand that the business a long time ago said, "Hey, we're tired of trying to hide that it's phony. It's just phony." But come on. I got nothing wrong with having women officials, but they should be and I've said it again, they should be doing the women's matches though. That should be what they're there for, is the women matches. Because I look at it like a boxing match or, a UFC match. You're not going to have a women official when these two guys are going at it. So why would we do it here? We're trying to get across that this is a sporting contest, but you can't get that across when a woman is officiating a match between two grown fucking men. At least Bobby Lashley. Butch is big dude, but man, next to Lashley, he looks like a cruiserweight. I'm going to go through here and just look at my results here. Obviously, I notate the female ref. Great post bump. That is right. The Butch Lashley match wasn't bad. I ended up giving it a C, a flat C on the grade. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. It was a good, decent match. I feel like that match pulled the show from a really, stuttering start with the whole woman angle coming out. I thought it really got the show back on a right track because it was a good match. They gave them a few. I'd say it seemed like they went for about 10 minutes. It's probably something more shy of that. We did have a commercial break in there, but an excellent ring post bump on the outside. Lashley got him up in a fireman's carry and kind of just slammed his head into the post, which looked really cool. A funny line on the outside from the Street Profits was Black Friday has been extended. I heard him say that. That made me chuckle pretty good. So that was a good line on the outside. Lashley hits a spear and wins the match. A lot of people hitting spears. Used to be one guy, and he was the only one that ever did it. Goldberg, that hit the spear to win it. Edge kind of adopted it later on. Now, it seems like everybody's hitting spears. Was that Lashley's? Has it always been a finisher of his? I don't know. I don't remember. I feel like he was doing something else. Maybe I'm wrong. At his height back in the late 2000s, Lashley's, I was in the military, so I missed a lot of that. So I didn't really have I still to this day don't have a lot of any kind of connection with Bobby Lashley. I think he's almost 40. I think he's 47. I read on Twitter earlier. So he looks like he looks the same, if not better, than he did back then. But yeah, not really invested in the guy, but he looks the part. He talks okay. He got on the mic there before the match started. But yeah, again, pulls it out of the depths of what the women started with. I think the women started the show really, stuck in neutral a little, and that got it going, in my opinion. Then the wise man, we see the wise man in a backstage promo. He shows up at the desk of Nick Aldis. Want to know why Nick Aldis had invited Randy Orton to Friday Night SmackDown. Aldis lets us know that he plans and intends on signing Randy Orton tonight in the middle of the ring in front of a live studio audience. Well, not studio, live audience. He's going to sign Randy Orton. That's what he says. And he says the way he's going to make sure he gets his signature is to offer up every single member of the bloodline to him. As we know, the bloodline were the ones that put Randy out of action almost 2 years ago, year and a half ago. Paul went on to say, does my tribal chief, Roman Reigns, does he know? Why doesn't he know? Why hasn't he been notified of this potential signing of Randy Orton? Aldis is quick to point out that he has strict orders in the past that all communication to Roman Reigns must go through his legal counsel, one Paul E. Dangerously. Heyman, sorry. Always be Paulie Dangerously to me. Then we get a quick backstage segment. And I notated this. And this goes for Raw. This goes for NXT. This goes for SmackDown. Get rid of these backstage promos. They are so bad. These guys are like porn actors. And that's being generous when it comes to these things. It just makes everything look silly. I ain't saying everything's got to be cutting edge, attitude era. You get a lot of that from people. I ain't saying that. Just make it wrestling. Give them someone back there holding the stick who has a little pizzazz, because none of these people do that are holding the stick. Give them somebody with a little pizzazz and put a mic in front of them. Let them cut promos the old school way. Either going to sink or you're going to swim. But this bad acting, not only is it a hindrance to the talent, in my opinion, it's a complete, it just shits on the show and then the sport of wrestling. Sports entertainment of wrestling, whatever you want to call it. I can't stand them. I'm watching them on Raw. They're awful. NXT, awful. SmackDown tonight, not as many, I will say. We didn't get as many of them, which was nice to see. But every time they're happening, they're just plain awful. Get rid of them. It'll make the show better. Isn't that what you want to do, Triple H? Don't you want to make the show better? Get rid of these things. Go back to the old stick. Give them a minute or two. Cut a promo. I mean, think about all the classic things of wrestling are promos. The old promos are some of the most classic stuff that we look back on and enjoy, whether it's Flair, Macho Man, Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock. And the list goes on. Most guys got made or broken that way. And I guarantee you, and maybe that's the issue. Maybe they're all just that bad at cutting promos. But anybody that's grown up on wrestling, loves wrestling, like a lot of these guys claim to do, they're going to be decent at a promo because they've done it in their bathroom mirror for most of their life. Get rid of the backstage promo. Give us the old school mic. Moving along. I'll get off my soapbox with that. We get a really good video package put together. Look, my computer. Plug my computer up. We get a really great promo package about the Santos Escobar Rey Mysterio beef, or Santos LWO beef, Latino World Order. Thought it was really well done. Got me excited about the segment for sure. And I like Santos. They made him look like $1 million in that promo package. We don't really get a promo from him tonight. We go. Basically, they button up that promo package, just letting us know that he's going to be in a match with Joaquin Wilde of the LWO, former member. And I got here. It's a decent match, and it was nothing. It got the job done. I don't think it was outstanding. It goes back to kind of the Lashley match. Wasn't great. Wasn't awful. Kind of somewhere in the middle. I gave it a flat C as well. It did end in a clean finish, I will say. Santos wins with a Death Valley driver to defeat Joaquin Wilde, which is the right move. He's got a little heat right now. Keep him hot. Excuse me. You know, the guy's got a little heat right now. Let's keep him hot. Give him a win. Put him over. I'd say put him over everybody. At some point, he's going to touch with Carlito. Don't let Carlito bury a young talent. Make sure Santos goes over Carlito. And if and when Ray does come back, don't let Ray squash him either. We got too many instances. It's been like this for years, which to me was a Vince McMahon staple. So we got to break out of that, of these old guys coming in and putting down the new talent. You're not going to grow these guys. Give them a win. Give them a win over Ray. Give them a win over Carlito. At least Carlito. Like if Ray goes over, okay, I can maybe handle it. Even though it shouldn't happen, you got to get these young guys over, but do not let Carlito beat him. Quickly follow the match. Santos is putting the boots to Wilde a little bit more after the bell. Dragon Lee appears. Kind of runs Santos out of the ring. Santos chicken shits out of the ring. Dragon Lee is there, you know, coming to the aid, checking on his friend there, Joaquin Wilde. And here's something that really it grounded my gear a little bit. You see Dragon Lee there over Wilde. He's checking on him. Santos has snuck his way back around Lee. He's in the ring. All he had to do is jump on him and start just clobbering him. And then he could put the boots to him too. Then he can dip out. Or maybe the rest of the LWO shows up and then he dips out. Now what's he do? He stands him up. He stands him up, turns him around, then tries to throw the old wild punch, gets blocked. He gets hit. They try to do like a match spot. Lee gets the better of Santos. Santos tucks tail and dips. Why are we doing that? Why does it go into like a match spot as if they're in a freaking match? Only have them doing these moves and all if they're engaged in the match. When it's after the bell stuff, things of that nature, just have it be a brawl. Just a brawl. Let's get over the heat of the moment. The heat of the moment isn't getting over with those match spots to me. It completely deflated what I thought was a pretty decent match. Okay, Dragon Lee comes out, he runs him off. Okay, that's fine. If it ends there, that's fine. If it even ends there with no shots or punches thrown between the two, that's fine. Just a little overbooked on that, man. And then they go into that. It's a little overbooked. And if you're going to bring Santos back in, when he has this dude's back to lay into him too, let him lay into him. Let that be it. Or you should have had Dragon Lee come out and lay into him and let him chicken shit out then. But the whole match spot thing just was stupid. It was so dumb. They never did that. You didn't see like them go into like weird suplexes and stuff back in the day. No, you broke it up. It was just a brawl and you ran them out. You didn't hit your moves. You didn't hit 2 or 3 spots. That's what they did in this. It was like almost like a damn near another match was starting. I just didn't like how that went. But I'm not here to just bash the show or nothing like that. I thought it was a good match. I just thought that was really dumb. I don't know. I didn't like that. After a commercial break, we come back. We've got YouTube, Vine, whatever sensation he is. I don't know. I've never watched any of his stuff. I only started hearing about the Logan and Jake Paul from their boxing exploits. But Logan Paul comes out. He is our United States champion. I don't think we've seen him in 2 months, but he is the champ. But hell, we ain't seen Roman in 2 months either. And that streak's still alive tonight. Sorry to spoil it. But he does announce that we do have a U.S. title tournament to figure out the number one contender for his United States Championship. I'm assuming by the time that concludes, that's going to be a match we're going to see at the Rumble. We got my boy Santos Escobar, who also he does a great. He is like when they were showing that promo package, Santos Escobar, he gets over that whole Pablo Escobar deal. Like any of those, if you've ever watched any of the shows surrounding when they've tried to do these drug shows and they bring in the Colombian, even go back to the movie Blow with Johnny Depp, he plays that really well. He comes off like he is a character out of one of them shows, and that's why I kind of dug him. But Santos will be in it. We'll have Dragon Lee in it. They're actually going to go next week. Shocker there. So we'll see that match. That'll be, the first two matches of this tournament will take place next week. Santos versus Dragon Lee. And we'll also get Karrion Kross versus Bobby Lashley. So they'll both be in this. As well as Kevin Owens, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, and an NXT mystery person. So, who's going to come from NXT and challenge in this U.S. title tournament, I wonder. I'm going to assume that when the following SmackDown, I'm going to assume we're going to have Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory for that one. The only reason I say that is because here in just a second, we'll get to it. Kevin Owens and Grayson Waller have an impromptu match. But the NXT mystery guy got me intrigued because me and Trey the other night, my tag team partner, after the NXT show, we're doing a live react, and like most, we love Ilya Dragunov. We like a Braun Breaker. But outside of those two, drop in the comments. Out of those two guys, who do you see? Could it be one of them, or is there someone else I don't know about and I'm not talking about? Because I'd love to see a Dragunov come out. I'd be fine with Braun Breaker. I think he could use a little more polish, but hey, let him up. Let him do something on the main screen. Let people get a look at him. Because only about 700,000 to 800,000 people a week know who Braun Breaker is. That's a big number to us, but not in the TV world. My fingers are crossed for Dragunov, to be perfectly honest with you. Because let's say he gets through it. Because once he comes in, you got to let him get there. Not saying he's got to take the belt off Paul. But I think that would be a really fun match at Royal Rumble. Dragunov versus Logan Paul. Because he would beat the fuck out of Logan Paul. He would chop him to death that he may not come back to the business. So we get a quick commercial break again, and we come back, and now we have Logan Paul's in the ring. He does his spiel. Kevin Owens interrupts, comes down. Kevin Owens and him are throwing some barbs back and forth. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Music hits. They come walking down. Austin Theory throws one of his little elementary jabs towards KO, and KO just immediately one hitter quitter, puts Theory down, he rolls out. He may come to regret that later. So then we go to commercial break. We come back. We're told Kevin Owens versus Grayson Waller next, and then they go to commercial, and then they come back. And when they come back, they're already middle of the match. KO and Waller are already going at it. But they did some good things in here. And really, had it not been for what they were doing here, other than that, the match would have been flirting with C-D territory, honestly, up until this point when they did something old school. You see Theory stomp Kevin Owens' hand, because Theory stays on the outside. We have Logan Paul on the mic, who made a couple good quips here and there. But Theory stomps on Kevin Owens' hand, which allows Waller to go on to work it the rest of the match, and Theory as well later on. And they really isolated that hand. They really, really worked on it hard, which was nice to see. You don't see enough of that anymore in today's wrestling, where they just take an extremity, a body part, and really work it. And I thought that was really cool, really nice to see. It got the match over more for me. Because it opens up so many more possibilities when you're doing that. Because you see Waller, he starts working on it in submission ways, really just trying to hurt it. Owens did a hell of a job selling it too. You'd see him even when he touched the rope, when he's climbing the rope, he's like, gah, gah, when he put pressure on it. He did it perfect. He sold it really well. The match would end though. Again, Waller's still working on his hand. He stuffs KO's hand into the bottom turnbuckle, and he's backing out. He's going to come do a run kick, and right before he gets there, Owens rips his hand back, rips his hand out of the turnbuckle, I should say. Waller kicks the turnbuckle, sells that it hurt that he kicked some padding. Owens gets the roll up for the 1, 2, 3. Gets out of there, still favoring the hand. He kind of steals the victory there. Same thing for this Waller kid. He wasn't bad, but there's so many of these spots where they're, throwing a punch or something like that that's not going to connect. It's not going to connect. But they don't try to make the punch look like as if they were trying to connect in the first place, if that makes sense. And it just looks bad. It looks really bad. Nor do they really show surprise that the guy dodged it. They just kind of go, and it just makes it look phony. There's some little nuances that are not done correctly that can make it look phony that I can't stand sometimes. I guess I pick up on it. Most of us probably do, but I don't know if it's just one of the things you just eat and power through it and go, okay, whatever. I'll turn a blind eye to that. Or if it's a bigger problem. I don't know. After this, we see Kara Sane getting ready for her. Actually, I did grade this match. Kairi Sane getting ready for her match versus Bianca, who come to the ring first. Seems like there's some issues with damage control, obviously there. I know they've been teasing at that quite a while. And then Bayley pretty much, and they kind of show you again in a promo package about the women's war games. Bayley put her body on the line. She's saving partners' backs in that match and taking the brunt of the punishment. And they're still like telling her to F off in the group. It's really like, what else you got to do? So Bayley heel turn obviously is incoming. Bianca looks like $1 million. I can't stand the long hair. It's played out, but she looks like $1 million. And for anybody watching in the future, is Kairi Sane a pirate? I don't get. She's walking out there with this pirate's. Well, it's like a ship's. I was in the Navy too. I should know the names of these things, but I didn't work in a. That was called deck department. The people that did things like that and actually would drive the ship, but we didn't actually have a wheel like that. I don't believe. A friend of mine was actually in that department. I know I went to the bridge and there was no cool pirate wheel. But yeah, Kairi Sane's out there with this pirate wheel for no apparent reason. It's like, okay, are you a pirate? It's like, I don't understand. So it's a pretty good match. Really, it looked like a squash for most of it. Bianca's really just putting the boots to this Kairi girl. And, the rest of Damage Control not at ringside. I don't remember if they said the referee sent them to the back or if it was, or Kairi sent them to the back because she wanted to do it by herself or what the deal was there. But it was essentially one-on-one, and it showed because Bianca was putting the boots to her. Well, then out of left field, as Bianca's on the apron, here appears Bayley from the backside by the announce desk. She does actually a pretty cool spot. She grabs the hair, yanks her down from the back real violently, and Bianca bumps on the apron. Like a pretty rough bump, too. It was really well done, that spot was. It really sold. Okay, that hurt. Whether you're trying to fake it or not, it hurt. Them aprons are not forgiving. Kairi is like shocked. She's looking at her like, can't believe that Bayley's helping her. It's like she's on your team. Y'all were just in the Survivor Series War Games together. Of course she's trying to help you win. Well, in her shock, she slaps hands. Slap hands. She slapped hands with Bayley. Takes him too much time. She gets the top rope. Bianca shoots up, puts her in essentially a torture rack, and then flips her into a front face drop. Rolls her up. I think she calls it the kiss. Rolls her up. 1, 2, 3. Bianca wins. Good match. I actually like that last bump at the end too. I thought they told a pretty good story. I think they left too much still on the bone there because I don't know why they hate Bailey so much. Why are they hating on her? Maybe I missed something. Based off the promo package of War Games and Bailey really going out for a team, and they're just like cold shouldering her in the back. She comes out to help her team win or help her friend win. And if they were trying to get heat on Bailey for that in that match, and I'm sure they're still going to come out and say, "Oh, you cost me the match." They never came back out. I figured I'd see it after the match, and if it was on there and I missed it, I'm sorry. There was a Pac-12 championship game I flipped back and forth to at one point, but didn't think I'd missed anything. But if I did, let me know, because they didn't make a big deal of it. I thought maybe Bailey would cost her the match in some other way, but it wasn't the case. And Bianca would get the dub there. If I can find the rest of my notes here. Oh, is that it? Is that all the notes I took? I guess so. Apologize. I guess that's all the notes I took. I thought I kept taking. Oh, well. And then at the end, I'll just jump straight to the end of the show. We get Randy Orton comes out. First, we have in the ring Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce, both with their nice little executive clipboard for the signing of the contract of where Randy Orton will end up, Raw or SmackDown. And it was weird because you see, I don't know how far they're booking this stuff and writing this stuff in advance, but it was like they kind of missed, Orton was on Raw Monday night. Even says he goes to Adam Pearce. He's going to ask for a match Monday night, if you remember, against Dominic Mysterio. He's going to ask for a match to Adam Pearce. So we know he at least has spoken to him because he got that match later in the show. Of course, it ended up being the main event on Raw. So nowhere in there does there ever a mention of he's signing with who, if he's going to sign with Raw or they're going to sign him, blah, blah, blah. You didn't hear anything of that until you got there on SmackDown tonight. And that's pretty much all you heard from Aldis. The whole show was about trying to get Orton signed. Then Pearce shows up in a backstage promo, actually. And, I'm going to sign him. I'm here to sign him. And Aldis makes a great point. He says, you were here. He was on Raw on Monday. Why didn't you sign him then if you're going to try to do it? Now you're here on my show. So they're in the middle of the ring as the segment starts, and here comes Randy Orton. And I said it Monday. Man, he is jacked to the gills right now. I've never seen him bigger. He looks great. Looks humongous, dude. Bigger than he's ever looked. Kind of reminds me of, Triple H was always slimmer in the 90s. Wasn't as defined. All that stuff. And then there was he just became jacked overnight one day, it felt like. Especially when he got in the main event picture. He got super jacked. Kind of like Orton looks like here. He's probably doing roids on the off time. I guess he can get away with it as long as you're not testing them. Not hating on him for doing it. If he's doing it, why not? I think we need to bring steroids back into that, back into baseball, back into sports. Why not? Don't hate me for that comment, but yeah, Orton looks like $1 million. He comes out. Pearce starts stating his case for why Orton should sign with Raw. He offers up Orton a title shot, essentially an immediate title shot for the World Heavyweight Championship. Told him he'd get the winner of Monday Night Raw's main event, which is going to be Seth Rollins versus Jey Uso. He gets the winner and the shot at that title. Aldis then gets his chance to speak on the matter. offers up every member of the bloodline, essentially. Giving you the bloodline, Randy, if you'll sign. Then we see Orton pontificating of the two offers from both general managers of Raw and SmackDown. Then we hear the voice of the wise man, one Paul E. Dangerously. Paul Heyman does his nice little spiel about who he is and who he represents. That being the bloodline and the Universal Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, head of the table. And that seems to enrage Randy just a little bit that the penguin essentially has walked out there and wags his finger in Batman's face. Then we hear Solo Sikoa's music hit. And he's accompanied by Jimmy Uso as they come to put a beat down on Randy, who Paul says, shouldn't, don't come to SmackDown. Gonna make your life hell. Don't come to SmackDown. Gonna make your life hell. The Bloodline's gonna make your life hell. So Solo and them come out. Randy essentially takes care of them, no problemo. And then they start getting the upper hand a little bit. And then LA Knight's music hits. And he comes running out in some big-ass Timberlands. Had me saying, what year is it? Are Timberlands back in big time now or something? Or did they never leave? Remember, they were huge back in the day. When I was in high school, they were huge, big deal. And man, there was some old school Timbs he walked out in for sure. Comes running down there. Starts going toe-to-toe with Solo. They fight to the back. And poor Jimmy Uso's left out there for the Viper, Randy Orton. Randy strings him up on the ropes, hits that middle rope DDT. Starts like a dog. Can't stand when Orton does that. Always hated that. Is that his snake impression? Is that what he's doing there? When he's like losing his mind? Is that his snake impression? I don't know. Orton hits Jimmy with the RKO, but of course. Then he walks over to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, who are now on the outside holding their respective contracts. He asked for both contracts. They hand them to him. He walks over, and as he's pontificating again over the lifeless body of Jimmy Uso, you hear Paul Heyman on the outside saying, "Don't do it. Don't be stupid and sign to SmackDown. Don't do it. You'll regret it. Go have it easy on Raw. You don't want to be here. We're gonna make your life hell. Bloodline's gonna make your life hell." Well, those warnings from Paul fell on deaf ears. Randy would sign with Friday Night SmackDown. So now Orton is officially on SmackDown, which means we won't see him on Raw. At least not anytime soon. We know how often they weave in and out just the same. But as of now, I won't see him on Raw. He's going to be over on SmackDown. Which kind of leads, they do that whole angle there tonight with Orton, with the contract, of who's going to sign him, which show. But they're not going to be able to do the same thing with Punk, though. Because obviously Punk's a free agent. He's being billed right now as being on Friday Night SmackDown next week for the Christmas to the Troops special. Tribute to the Troops. They always do it around Christmas. I feel like it's a little earlier this year. I thought they usually did these right around, like that was like one of their Christmas, like essentially their Christmas episode, closer to. I don't know what day Christmas falls on this year, but. So we'll get CM Punk next week on Raw, SmackDown. I'm sorry, and Raw's pretty beefed up. I know we got couple good matches. Honestly, they booked a third pretty good match today. I have to go back and check it out. So we'll see. I guess is Pump going to be one of those players that's just on both channels? I saw some reports that he would be essentially signed to Raw because of the impending TV deals coming up. Which I'll grab my phone in a second because I did see some news on potential landing spots for each show. I think NXT would get moved. And it sounds like they're completely leaving USA and Fox for that matter. So everything as it is now will not be that way here shortly. I think one of the reports was NXT could go to the CW, which is actually weirdly enough a channel I like because they play a lot of old school show reruns that I'll watch late at night. Game shows that I like. Random game shows I like. And I'm trying to remember because I think SmackDown, I think the running for it right now is like Amazon and FX, which poo-poo to both, actually. I didn't. Surprised Fox isn't keeping it. I mean, they've had it for a few years now. Surprised they're not keeping it. I don't know what they throw into their Friday time slot now that's going to have the same rating. SmackDown's going to draw you about 2 million a week, just about. I know the numbers were really down last week, but they were on FS1, which most people don't even get FS1. I don't even know if I have it. If I do, I don't know where the fuck it's at. I'm sure I could look it up. So, some news there. And I'm not going to get too news heavy right now. I'm probably going to be going live tomorrow too. Talk a little news tomorrow morning. Hang out. Probably go live on Twitch. So check me out there. Probably going to go live on Twitch tomorrow morning. Again, subscribe to all of our channels. Please do subscribe. We're over on Twitch at Locked On WWE, Twitter at Locked On WWE, Facebook at Locked On WWE. So find us in any of those spots. We go live on Facebook quite often. That we're going to be going live there with a lot of days. I'm going to try to schedule it out to where we're live on certain platforms on certain days, and then here soon we'll be going simultaneously across all our channels. Just haven't paid for certain things I'll need to pay for to make that a possibility. Using free versions of things right now here in our infancy. But yeah, usually during the shows like tonight, I live tweeted throughout with the grades on each match. I don't think there's anything I'm missing here either. I randomly just quit writing notes midway through the match. I did have a phone call. Maybe that's what happened to me. So I don't think I missed a match. But overall, I'm trying to go ahead and just give myself and I'll ask Trey this. Maybe I should hold this question for when he's on the show again. Of what was the show of the week overall? Easy to say Raw because of Punk's return, Orton's return. Had a good tag team turmoil deal there too. That was about it. Orton Dom was okay, about what you'd think it would be. NXT's good, but they're very wrestle heavy, which I like. I don't like half the show being taken up with mics unless they're worth a crap on the mic. Most of these people aren't. But SmackDown wasn't bad. I thought SmackDown overall is better than Raw. Didn't have quite the star power. It was lacking star power for sure. Orton was kind of the biggest star on that show. LA Knight ran down for a brief second and brawled. And which is surprising because they were in New York, they're in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. Usually they tend to put on bigger shows there. More impactful show, I'd say. And this one was kind of crappy overall, if we're being honest, but it wasn't terrible either. So that's probably all there is to say about this tonight. That's all I got to say about that. I'm going to grab my phone real quick and just make sure there's no news that we're missing. It's on charge. Give me 1 second. Holy cow. And for any of those keeping up with football, it was like 20-3 Washington at the half when I looked before I started the show. And now I've turned around to see what the score is, got the TV on it. Oregon is now ahead 24-20. So that's setting up to be a good game here. So I'm going to probably hop off here in a second and watch the rest of this sucker because it's about to start the fourth quarter. Anyway. But yeah, like I said, we may have a show tomorrow. Could go live Sunday. Still very new. It's our first week on the show. If anybody's watched these videos past for some reason took me off the stream. I'm gonna start clipping up some shorts and stuff to get up on YouTube as well to grow this channel. We want to grow this community. We want to make this a place where we can all come in and talk wrestling, and we ain't got to be politically correct over here either. All right, I've said it tonight. Put the women on their own show. I don't care about any of them. They're all boring me. They're boring. They're awful. They can't cut. They're not that good on the mic. There might be one or two. They're all okay on the mic, I guess, but and they can wrestle. I'll give them that. But man, there's just everything to build something is so boring. They can't build a match at all. It's just so unbelievable, in my opinion. It's just I don't buy into any of it. Maybe I'm in the minority there. I don't know. I'm sorry. I guess I'm 37. I'm not that old, but it's starting to get harder to teach older dog new tricks, I guess. But I know plenty of people my age and older that love it. So I don't know. It's to each their own. I just think at times it bogs down the show, and I thought it was a really poor way to open the show tonight. It just was boring. First 15 minutes of the show was boring. And there was like I said, little to no star power. You can count Charlotte Flair in there as star power, but she didn't even really have a big spot in the show. She came out and said a few words to Damage Control and Bianca to start that during that opening awful promo, and then she got involved a little bit at the beginning of the match with Sane and Bianca before being sent to the back. And then Orton, I mean, outside of that, there was no star power on the show. It really lacks star power that you think you're going to see on a live network television wrestling show. Generally, that's the way it's been most of the time for SmackDown. They kind of flipped that into their A show over the last few years, and that was not an A show tonight. Raw had more star power. NXT was better overall as far as just having quality matches. So I don't know where I'm gonna sleep on that one. And when I get with my tag team partner, I think we're gonna go throw something up. So I have to have something up. But man, kind of close across the board. But if I'm being honest right now, I think SmackDown's a little better than Raw wrestling wise. I thought the matches were better than what Raw offered, but I thought the star power was better that Raw offered than SmackDown. And then I think NXT, as far as wrestling goes, was the best wrestling show. It was old school. It was It was a match, a match, a match, a match. And there was like 5 or 6 matches on a 2-hour show. That's what I grew up used to seeing. Maybe get a promo here and there. But biggest takeaway tonight is, man, I don't know if I need to start a petition. The more followers we'll get, we'll start a petition to get rid of these backstage promos, these awful porno acting promos. I'll end on that. I appreciate you guys if you came in and watched. I appreciate you being here. Again, hit subscribe to us on all the social media outlets, please. You can keep up to date with our streams. We're going to start getting some opinionated pieces in there too, whether it be from me, Trey, got another friend of the show, Kyle. He may be doing something for us too. Try to get a couple of those out a week, just some hot debate topics, when it comes to wrestling. But yeah, join us, tell your friends about us, share the streams, share the videos, and hit the notification bells. And as always, have a good day. We appreciate you coming. We'll see you next time.